Hi everyone, happy Friday. Super excited that you are here. We are going to do the monthly InDesign tech tutorial, and I'm going to show you how to edit the budget planner. Now, when I say the budget planner, I mean the digital budget planner. And in fact, if you still wanted to buy it, because it is like full price right now, all my digital planners are $97. You can still get it for 50% off. So if you want to buy it today and just follow along with us, if you don't already have it, if you download today's workbook, inside of there, let me go to it because I don't remember, but if you're watching me on YouTube, go to the description and there's a link for Crowdcast. And then inside of there, you will see, once you're in Crowdcast, you'll see a link for the workbook below. Let me just make sure that we are all here and everything is going. If you can't hear me, let me know. Or if you can hear me, let me know. That didn't come out right. If you can hear me, just say hey. Hey, Donna. All right, cool. So, Vanya, we can hear you. Thank you. All right, so let me go ahead and you should have, let me share my screen. How about that? And again, if you guys have any questions about InDesign or life, I don't know, whatever, if I can answer it, I will answer. So I'm going to share my whole screen. So you're going to see like a thing. There we go. All right. So what you want to do is download the workbook below. You're going to see that. Now inside of here, I think it's all the way at the bottom. Oh yeah, here it is. The digital planner. If you didn't have it, you can still get it today for 50% off. Just follow this link and use the code today50. I don't know if it's case sensitive. It might be, it might not be. Usually if you just use this link, it'll be just fine. So let me put that inside of here. And I added the link also inside of Crowdcast. All right, so today we're going to talk about OpenType fonts. I don't even know if you guys remember, I was doing the monthly tech tutorials, and then I was like, they're only going to be for Planner Academy 2.0. And then I just didn't feel like launching Planner Academy 2.0. It just felt kind of weird. I feel like I've been in this whole thing where I'm like, I just realized I don't really go with the herd for all of the other creative entrepreneurs out there who are basically just rah-rahing about how you should, you know, quit your job, or maybe if you got laid off, you should start an online business. And I 100% disagree. I don't think an online business is going to save people. And it's a little odd because I think everyone has a different experience, and maybe that was true for them. You know, I hear a lot of stories like, I hated my job and, you know, it was awful. And I never hated my job. I lived in New York. I lived in the Upper West Side, and my job was right in Midtown, like a block from Rockefeller Center. And the NFL draft was always like right outside our office. And I loved my life. Like there was nothing wrong. And as far as income reports as well, I mean, I'm finally making enough where like I'm profitable, but it wasn't like that in the beginning. And I know everyone's like, oh my God, I'm making more than I ever made in my corporate job. That is still not true for me. I am much happier because I can make my own hours. And I don't know if anybody knows this, like a little unknown fact, I actually quit and I wanted to be a full-time writer, and that just didn't work out. And I really just wanted to spend more time with my dog. That sounds sick. Anyways, he passed away like right after I quit my job, but that's really what I wanted to do. I was like, it'd be great if I could stay at home with my dog every day and just write books all the time. And so that was like my main motivation. So I'm going off on a tangent like I always do. But I will rein myself back in. Oh, Donna, I am the same. I don't hate corporate. Yeah, I just don't hate it. And I don't think online is the answer. Like you could get another job. Like I had amazing jobs. I had fabulous bonuses. I had stock options, right? Like if you do well in corporate America, there's no reason for you to be like, I must start an online business. It's not all like roses, and maybe you really like structure. I actually really like structure. I think this is why I'm struggling too. Like if you think about it, I did human resources, which is all about making up rules and making sure people follow the rules. I like discipline and consistency and having a set schedule and planning things out. Like I am definitely not spontaneous And yeah, I just happen to like pretty things. I'm not that like starving artist, sort of like tortured and need to be, I don't know, go with the flow. I guess I'm just not a go with the flow person. So anyways, yeah, done online is not for everyone. Yeah, it's true. And so the thing is, oh, I know what I was saying. This is why I went off on a tangent. Why isn't Planner Academy 2.0 launching? I think I'm not buying into this whole, like, there's a bunch of people right now that are, not just right now, but recently, who are like, if you want to make more, you just need to charge more. Like, I don't know that that's really true. I don't know that you're worth $100 an hour or $200 an hour or whatever it is you're charging people to consult with them or spend hours with them, or their $4,000 program or $10,000 program is really going to bring me $10,000 worth of value. So I think that's why I'm having a problem with high ticket items. So I'm trying to roll out more low ticket items. That's why the next thing that I'm rolling out is the Lookalike Layout Club. That is going to roll out at a founder's rate of $47 a month. And that's all for really people who want to do design, right? So people who want to learn more about Adobe InDesign, who aren't necessarily like, I'm just going to outsource it. You're wondering how to make things pretty or change text or colors or put things together. And so that to me is like, that feels like a good offer that I think is a valuable skill that you could have then to either, one, just become a graphic designer as a freelancer or as at your job, or get a job doing that, or do things on your own to save money. And two, it just seems fun. So anyways, that is launching later this month and possibly the early next month, because I'm looking at Mighty Networks. I really like it. It's I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Mighty Networks. I don't like Facebook groups. And I also am like, I can't stand Slack. I know people are like, it's so great. And like, these were really smart people. And I was like, I can't follow anything going on. I have no idea what's what. And Mighty Networks is two things. One, it's a course repository, but more importantly, it is set up for community. So I think that's where the Lookalike Layout Club is going to be versus on Podia, just because I'd like to have a community where people can ask each other questions. And also I don't want it on Facebook. And two, it has an app. So on your phone, I was going to pick up my phone to demo because you've never seen a smartphone, right? On your phone, you can download the Mighty Networks network application. And then you can just like Facebook, it kind of like brings up discussions and events and other things like that. So I think that's going to be the solution for Lookalike Layout. So I'm really excited about that. Angela, really great idea. Yeah. So let's go back to today. So we're talking about OpenType fonts. So if you grab your workbook, so over here, your workbook looks something like this, and jump down over here. We're just going to talk about the difference between TTF versus OTF. So a lot of times when you get, let me open this up. And I didn't make a lot of slides, but this, just to give you a reminder, this is the monthly tech tutorials. And as far as I know, they're just going to be free. I'm just going to keep doing these every month. So this is May. So we're going to talk about OpenType fonts. And then June, we're going to talk about how to make text pretty, because I really like the how text can kind of wrap around a body or a shape or something like that. So I think that can like make things prettier for either your covers or for inside of your planners or journals or whatever you want to do. So anyway, so we're going to keep just going down the list every month. If you missed any of these past months and you want them, they're all on Crowdcast. So if you just hit the follow button for like me on Crowdcast, you should be able to see past Crowdcast presentations. Like unless anything was private, like you had to pay for it, I just leave everything public, and then you can still watch the last recording and download all of the workbooks as well. So every month comes with a workbook. But to get into today, TrueType versus OpenType, I never really thought about it, and I don't want you to think about it either unless you're going to be a font typography professor. There's really no reason to get too into this. It's just whenever I open stuff, it would say, do you want TTF or do you want OTF? And I would be like, I don't know. Like, I think I've heard of TTF. I'm not really sure. Maybe I should do OTF. Like, I had no idea. So here's the deal. TTF is old. So that was the first one that came out, and it's usually associated with Windows, even though people like to say it was created by Apple. I don't know. It was like 20 BC. Who cares? It's just the older version. It also has some anti-aliasing issues. So if you remember those old computers from the 80s or those old printers, when you printed things out, they would print as like little squares, right? And so it looks kind of like, it's not even pixelated. It's just kind of weird. It just looks like dots. So then it's not smooth, right? So that is an anti-aliasing issue, and that usually only happens with older TrueType fonts. So OpenType is newer. It smooths everything out, and it's just the more modern one. It works for both Mac and Windows. Now, TTF does work for Mac, but typically it was like made for Windows. That kind of makes sense. So the difference between Windows and Mac is like less so now than it was like in 1985. So it's not too important, but if you ever have a choice on which one to install, always choose OpenType over the TrueType. Now, the other thing, let's see, what are ligatures for? Okay, so ligatures, whenever you have letters, so if you look at this font right here, this is a script font, it is Sleep Lesson, and you'll see ligatures are what help connect the letters. So some letters just connect better than others. So see these two T's together? It's obviously they were meant to be put together. So that only happens usually with OpenType font versus a TrueType font. So that's also why you want to choose an OpenType font over the TrueType. So if you want to find any of these alternates, so if you're inside of Adobe InDesign, and this is our a digital planner. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to open up this. So this is the Think Pink font. And over here, if I want to find any of the alternates, actually, I'm not even sure if this one has alternates. I'm just going to go to Window, and I am going to go to Type, and I am going to find the Glyphs tool. So over here in the Glyphs tool is where you're going to find all of those alternates that they're talking about. So for this one, this particular font, you'll see it does have a few alternates. Like when you put the two F's together, they look a little different. So you could just double click that and it will add that in there. Let's make this a different color so you can see it a little better. There we go. If you have, you can scroll through here. You can double click the G's because the ligatures are what help those letters to go together. So I think it will automatically just put that ligature in there as well once you select it, if it knows that it has two letters that go together, like the M's. Oops. What else? The Oi. Oops. We just went to a different font. Oh, that's because we have that other font. I did not mean to do that. There we go. There's the Oi, there's the double T's, two P's, and that's just because of the way the letters are spaced. So you'll want to use the glyphs to find extra things. Now they have other things. So if you are writing something, if you're not writing something in English, they have the, I can't remember the accent, the accent gru, accent, I don't know. My French is terrible, but they have all of these different things for different letters or for different languages inside of here. Now, not everybody creates fonts that have glyphs. Some people just create fonts without glyphs or without a lot of variations. So it's just something to look for when you're looking through either Creative Market or through My Font or wherever you're going to buy fonts. Typically, if you're buying, if you're using the free fonts through defont.com or any of those other free sites, they're probably not going to come with glyphs. These are usually like a premium thing. Not all the time, but pretty much. So let's see. That's where you find alternates. Also, when you go to install your fonts, if you guys don't remember how to install fonts, all you have to do and again, I have no idea on how to do it on Windows. I haven't used Windows since corporate America. And if you ever worked in corporate America, you know, usually it's locked. So you don't have admin capabilities to do anything on it. So I was never even able to install fonts anyway. But if you go over here to the Spotlight tool and you just go to Font Book, Font Book is where you install fonts, and it's super easy. All you do is drag and drop them inside of there. Now, this inside of here is just a preview of different fonts of what they kind of look like, right? So they have different alternates. What's one that has a lot of alternates? I think I know I have so many fonts. So many fonts. I think the NutraFace one has a ton of alternates. There we go. So NutraFace comes in, it has like a whole different font set just for book, for light, alternate, book italic, alternate, light italic, bold, bold alternate. Now, just keep in mind though, this font was, I'm going to say it was $300. I think it was like $297. And that's why it comes with so many different things because it is so expensive. The other thing that this font can do too, not all fonts can do this, it can do fractions. And now that I said that, I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure NutraFace can do fractions. So let's make that blue so you can see it. Let's change it to NutraFace. Okay, so 3/4. So that is not a fraction right now, but if I highlight it and then over here, it'll just kind of pop up. I think that is, what is that called? I think that's called TrueType. I don't know, again, I'm not a font professor, but if a font has an alternate for fractions, if you highlight a fraction or something that could be a fraction, it will just show up. So if I select that, now you can see it's a true fraction. Not every font has that. So if we change this to, I don't even know, let's say, I don't think Arial has it. Cake Sans does not have it. So when I highlight this and hover over it, it's not there because it's not available. So again, different fonts are made up differently and some have the ability to do fractions and some don't. There is a workaround solution for this. I think in InDesign, you have to like move things around, but it's much easier if it's just already built into the font. Okay, tabular numbers. So tabular numbers, let me go back to Keynote over here. So there's a little bit of a difference. If you've ever tried to use numbers with a font, you'll notice that sometimes your numbers or your letters look gorgeous and they're like spaced perfectly. And then all of a sudden you go to use numbers with that font and you're like, what is going on? It looks weird. It looks bizarre. I'm trying to put numbers in like the title or something and it totally looks off. So here's the difference. Tabular fonts are proportional, which means even though it says the word proportional over here, in my mind, tabular fonts means, let's use the word equal. Everything is equal. You get one square of space, whatever that is, like a 2x4, and that's where the number will go. Now, a number 1 is obviously much skinnier than a number 4. So that's why it's saying over here, proportional numbers, it takes up less space because in the font's mind, it's like, why should I take up all this space for a 1 when a 1 is just a singular line? Tabular over here has made sure that it's always evenly widthed, no matter what the width of the number is. And so that's the difference that you're going to see. You're also going to see too in numbers, they have I think it's called a lining feature. So sometimes the numbers, excuse me, will line up exactly on the bottom of where the numbers are. And sometimes you'll notice sometimes the 1 is here, the 2 is here, the 3 is a little down, the 4 is a little up. That is non-lining numbers. So again, numbers vary widely. So if you're getting a font just for the numbers, make sure you check out all the numbers before you buy it. So inside of Creative Market, I think you can look for inside of any of the fonts. And I think you can go ahead. Let's try this one. I don't even know if it has numbers. Yeah, you can type it out. There we go. So we can see that this one is proportional because the 1 took up way less space than the 2. They aren't evenly spaced, but they are all aligned on the bottom. So I can't even think of a font that isn't aligned on the bottom, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You've seen it. What else do we have? Glyphs. So glyphs are simply inside of Adobe InDesign. That's what I showed you before. So anytime you have a font, again, not every single font has glyphs, but if they do, when you go to Window, Type, and then you go over here to glyphs, they'll show up if there are, in fact, alternates that are available. So that's pretty much our quick lesson on fonts. Now, when you purchase a font, where I took a screenshot, it's a really terrible screenshot, but Here we go. So this screenshot, let me try to make it a little bigger. So over here, whenever you buy a font, I shouldn't say whenever, usually when you buy a font, you'll see that it has the OTF, .ttf, .otf. So everything is coming in both TrueType and OpenType. Always install the OpenType. Don't even bother installing the TrueType. Just do OpenType, delete the rest. You don't need the TrueType. Windows and Mac, it doesn't even matter anymore. They both work. So that is pretty much it for our font lesson today, unless you guys have any questions, which I will check. Serena, how do we know if we bought the digital version or not? Oh, are you talking about the planner? I think you're talking about the planner series. So when you go into your dashboard, it will say, actually, if it doesn't say the word 04 digital budget planner, it's not a digital planner. So if you just bought the digital planner, it'll say budget planner pop-up shop. So those are two separate purchases. So the budget planner pop-up shop is just the pop-up shop with the social media graphics and all of those bonuses. The template for the digital planner is totally separate. It will say digital budget planner. So the other one doesn't have the word digital in it. That's all. Donna, thank you. All right, so that is fonts. We are now going to go ahead and open up the digital planner. So let me go through all the questions just so I make sure I get them all right. I just want to make sure when you guys get your digital planner, you can just hit the ground running or rewatch this video so you know what to do. So how do you change the purple streak background? So let's go ahead and go in here. All right, so up here, you'll notice this purple background everywhere inside of each of these. Now, if you don't like that purple background, you can actually change this, this whole layout right back here. So if you go to pages and you go over here to master pages, so you're going to notice that all of these master pages have been applied to each of these pages below. So if you aren't familiar with this or you don't see this, go to Window and make sure Pages is selected. And that's how you're going to see this pop-up panel. Now, in this pop-up panel, you're going to have pages above this line and pages below the line. The pages above the line are what are called master pages. The pages below the line are the actual pages. So when you double click on anything you see inside that page panel, it'll show up in the bigger area where you can edit it. So you want to make sure you have the right page selected. So if you're not sure which master page, so the master pages are here. They're kind of like your background, right? So you apply that master page to a particular page. So for example, over here where it says roadmap cover, this has been applied to the roadmap. So that's 2. So I try to put the numbers so they correspond with the pages down here. So if you hover over here, it will say 2- roadmap cover applied. And that's how you know which master page is applied to the page below. So this over here, let's do another one. 3. It says 3-pillar 1 applied. So up here at the top, I know I'm pointing to the screen, up here at the top where it says 3-pillar 1, that's the master page that's been applied. So if you want to change this purple background, you're actually going to have to change each and every single page to make sure it has a different background. So this right here, inside this master page is going to be, is if you make sure you select the right thing. So if you're not sure what you're selecting, go to Window and go to Layers. And okay, so if you're not sure what's what on the page, all you have to do is go to this little eye icon and toggle the visibility on and off. So you can see that is that bottom line. This is that bottom left line. So those are all of the rectangles. These are the actual numbers, the text over here. And then over here is the actual background page. So if you want to change that one, that's what you can change over here and just replace it with something else. So again, these are just JPEG files, nothing fancy. If you go into your links folder, So if you go to, so when you download this folder, you're actually going to get, let's see, budget planner, digital planner. Okay, so you're going to get this links folder, and inside of here, you're going to be able to find that JPEG that was used, right? So if it's the front cover JPEG, it's the home, it's the umbrella, whatever I used, you're going to find it here. So you can go in here, you can get the right dimensions, you can change it inside of Canva or Photoshop or whatever it is you use, and that's how you change the background. It's a long explanation for number one. Okay. 2, how do you change the tab text? So this is very easy. So the tab text, we're going to go back to pages, and we're going to change that tab text. Just so you know, you always want to change the tab text inside of the master pages. And the reason you want to do that inside of the master pages is because these are linked. So you see those dotted lines around all of that text? That means these are hyperlinked, so that when you open this inside GoodNotes or inside of, I guess, any software that has tabs, even Adobe Acrobat, it's going to go to home, it's going to go to roadmap, it's going to go to the right place. If you want to just change the text, you still want the tabs to work as is, that's totally fine. You're going to go over here to the type tool, and let's say instead of saying home, I want to change this to say cover, because that's really where it goes. So now it says cover. That's all you have to do. Now keep in mind, these are all individual. So when I go over to here, it still says home. It's not going to magically change. You're the one, you're like I always say that digital planners are kind of like the Wizard of Oz, right? And Dorothy. And it looks like smoke and mirrors in the front and all this fancy stuff, but you're like the wizard in the back with like the little monkey trying to make everything look like it's magical. You actually have to go in here and just manually type in the word cover over and over and over again until you make it through all of those master pages. So for example, we changed it in roadmap 2 over here. So when I go over to roadmap on the actual page, I can see that roadmap cover 2, because I hovered over it, roadmap is applied. So the word cover is there. But if I drop down to one of the later ones, it still says home because I didn't change the master page. So that's how you change the text on any of these, any of the tabs that you want. All right, how do you edit the images? So this is probably the least image heavy planner that we've done so far. And there's just a few pictures. So if you want to change these pictures, so 2 things. 1, I did not give you any of the Adobe stock photos, and not because I don't want to, I just can't, because they are, I'm not a image reseller. However, 2 things. 1, if you just use the Adobe PDF file that came with your sales file. So when you download this file, you receive this digital budget planner PDF. That PDF is ready to go as is. And let me open up Adobe Acrobat. All of the images are inside of here. Make yourself smaller. There we go. All of the images are inside of here. They weren't taken out or anything. So you could sell this as is without making any changes to that. And see all these tabs over here, they will work inside of Adobe Acrobat as well. All right, so all of these photos are fine as is. However, if you would like to make changes, what you'll have to do is go into Adobe InDesign. But inside of here, what I would do, because the way that the layers are placed, this coil, again, is fake. It's a fake coil that we just laid on top. And this coil is on top of the photo. And that's what makes it look kind of real. If you replace it, make sure to select that photo and then go to File, Place, and then select any other photo that you want. Let's do this. Yeah, so there's another photo, and it'll put it underneath that, that coil. Now, if you just make a mistake and it goes on top or not on top or whatever, it doesn't matter. Always take the coil and right-click on the coil and arrange and just say bring to front. It's already in the front, so the only place it can go is back or backwards. But like if you take this photo and you go to arrange and you say bring forward or bring front, now you can see it's inside of the coil. So that's obviously an error. So if that ever happens, always just take the coil, right click, go to arrange and bring to front. And then you fix that problem. So that's how you find images. So also I put some keywords down here, budget, finance, those are the images I used. If you want to know the exact images that I use, I believe you can still find them if you go to window and you go to links. Yeah, if you go to window and you go to links, it'll tell you Adobe, whatever the number is. And if you take that number, so if I take 316304128 and I go to Adobe stock over here, and to say you're like, I don't have time to think about this, I'm just going to buy the same one, you can put that number in, 316304128, and it should bring up, that same exact photo that was over here inside of Adobe InDesign. So you could just go ahead and purchase that and then everything will look exactly the same. So that is one alternative too, if you just don't feel like searching for images. All right, how do you add pages? So over here, two really important things to keep in mind when you add pages is one, you want to make sure you add them in the right order. So the way that these pages are ordered, if you notice, it has section numbering. So 2.7, then we start a new section, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. And the reason that they're numbered that way is very much on purpose so that the tabs work correctly. So let's say we want to add a page inside of section 3. So we can see that section 3 ends right here at 3.6, and then the next section starts at 4.1. So you're going to go to the very last page that you want to add something after. I always do it as after. I don't know why. You can do it before. It's just not as intuitive. You're just going to go to that page, double click it, right click on there and say insert pages. It's just that easy. Now, when you say insert pages, you can insert one page. I can insert 5 pages. I can do 15 pages, whatever you want, doesn't matter. The next drop-down box is, like I said, it's before, after, at the start of the document. The way I do it is always just after. I can visually see it. I can logically think from beginning to end, right? It's consecutive. So that is where it's going to go after page 3.6, which is the page that I am on. Now, the master is, all of these are the masters that you see up here at the top. So you just want to make sure that you're applying the exact same master as the other ones so that the tabs are correct on the side. So we're just going to add, pretty much if you just leave the default and you just add your page numbers, you're set. So that's why I always say go to the last page. So now all of these are blank pages and you can put in anything you want here. You could put a type box. This is my new page. Or images or whatever you want to put inside of here. So that's how you add new pages. How do you delete pages? Super easy. If I want to delete these new pages I just made or even any of the other ones, I just go over here and I take that page and I just drag it to that trash can down there at the bottom. So just take it and drag it. Now you can actually take multiples, hold the shift key down and delete like a ton of pages all at once. It's up to you, or you can do one by one just to be safe. And again, if you ever make a mistake, if you just do Control Z, it'll just undo everything. And I believe inside of Adobe InDesign, you can hit Control Z, I want to say like 15 times. I think there's a setting in preferences. As long as you didn't change it, I think you're in good shape. All right, last one. How do you save your custom file? All right, so now that you've made changes, if you just save this as a file, a PDF, it's not going to work. You have to make sure, in order to make these tabs like magical so that they work, you have to go to File, you go to Export, and then you go to make sure you download it as the format Adobe PDF Interactive. And as long as that format is Adobe PDF Interactive, then you're good. The interactive part is it's going to look for those hyperlinks and it's going to make sure to incorporate those in. So that's it for how to edit your budget digital planner. Does anyone have any questions? Or maybe you had questions and I'm just not looking. All right. Nobody has questions because I'm just that good, right? All right. Don't forget this time. No, that's not this time next week. Next week, nothing is happening. So, I mean, I'll have videos up just like regular. But the week after that, on Monday, May 25th, we're going to have the business planner pop-up shop at 10 a.m. on the 25th. So make sure to RSVP for that because that will have special pricing. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think I'll actually have the digital planner ready to go that day just because the business planner is already done. So it's just been done for a long time. So just happened that you guys voted on that. And don't forget next Monday, I shouldn't say that. There is something happening next Monday. Next Monday, Wednesday, May 20th, we are going to be voting on the June planner. So the new suggestions, if you guys have suggestions, let me know, just DM me or send me an email, whatever it is. Someone suggested a Bible planner, a faith planner, inspirational divinity planner, whatever it is. So I think that's a fabulous idea. So I am actually going to add that to the list of planners to also vote on for June. So if you have something else you want to make sure makes it in that list to vote on, make sure to let me know because that list will go up on the 20th. And then I will announce on that following Monday, May 25th, which one has won, and then that will be the June pop-up planner shop. All right, guys, I hope everyone's having a fabulous day. New question is June. B. Heecham said hi on YouTube. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.